The idea behind Snitch is think Mafia werewolf style game. It is a 4 to 6 player hidden identity, bluffing, negotiation, social party game. And again, it plays 4 to 6 players. And basically, again, think werewolf mafia with some added things in. So what you're going to do is everybody will start with 4 cards. You'll have a hidden identity. You will be either a mobster or a snitch. There's only ever one snitch in play. And, of course, the mobsters are trying to sniff out the snitch and whack him. And the snitch is trying to survive as best he can. So the way the snitch wins is if there are ever 5 police cards in the patrol area, the snitch wins. So he's gotten enough kind of police involved. Or if 2 mobsters are whacked, then the snitch wins. The mobsters win by the snitch getting whacked. You'll have 4 cards in your hand. You'll have your hidden identity. And every turn, starting with the player to the left of the dealer, will be the target. So this target card will go in front of them. And then everybody has to determine if that person might be the snitch. So what's going to happen is everybody will play a card face up in front of them so everybody can see it. And you will either basically say, I'm defending that person. I don't think they're the snitch if you have a card in your hand. So you'll play something like this body armor, which is 2 points of defense. And you'll say, I don't think that person's the snitch. I'm gonna put 2 points towards them not being the snitch. Somebody else might come along and say, no, that person is definitely the snitch. Might play something like this, the car bomb, which is 5 points of attack. Somebody else can say, there's 2 points of body armor out there. There's 5 points of attack. I am not convinced that's the snitch. I don't have any defense cards, but I have influence. Influence is, they're all 3 points, and they can be used either as attack or defense. Now, the caveat to that is the target player cannot use this as defense. So the target player, if they want to defend themselves, always have to use a defense card. So then you'll go around the table, everybody will put a card face up, including the target, and then you determine how many points of damage have gone through, if any. Now, there's a sliding scale, so there's a reference card to however many active players are still alive. There is the potential for somebody to be eliminated off of that, but it may not happen. So if, for instance, in a 4-player game, if there is 8 points of damage or more left over, that person is whacked. They're killed outright. If there is less than 8 points of damage left over, so 1 to 7 points, they go to the hospital. So this hospital card will get put on top of their identity to show that they're in the hospital. Once you're in the hospital, you only need 1 point of damage to get through to eliminate you. So, and again, that's a sliding scale. So once somebody's eliminated, now let's say we went from 4 players to 3 players. Now it's 6 or more points left over to outright kill them. So that's kind of nice. It's a sliding scale. It gets, that helps so the game doesn't drag on as much as players start kind of dropping out of the game. And again, it's a pretty fast game when you only need like 2 mobsters to leave, or the 5 patrol cards, and of course you only need to get the snitch the one time. So we showed the target. What other kind of cards are in here? Well, there's one thing that can come up that I haven't talked about yet. So everybody does their vote and everything, determine if the person scales by. Again, if it's fully negated, if they're at 0 points in the attack, then they're fine. Otherwise, they get the hospital card or whacked and then continue on. But somebody can, when they're drawing cards in their hand, get a mob job. If a mob job comes up, this kind of interrupts. So mob job, no matter who draws it, because everybody's going to draw 4 at the top of a turn. You'll always be at 4 when a turn starts, at least 4. If a mob job comes up, somebody draws it, they'll put this in front of the target player and draw a replacement card. And then, so the mob job kind of comes into effect. So looking at this one, we got the bank heist here. What happens is this goes in front of whoever is the target that's going to potentially be attacked that round. But now suddenly they're in a position of power a little bit because they are the crew leader. So the crew leader is going to basically look at all the other players and pick one person to not come with on this mob job. So that person sits out. Everybody else is going to get voting cards to either progress or snitched. So everybody will secretly put in one of these cards and put it in front of the crew leader. And then the other one is discarded off to the side with all the others. And then the crew leader will shuffle those up so he doesn't know which card came from which person. And then reveal them all. If they all come up progress, then the job is successful. If one card is snitched, then the job fails. And of course, you also get some information out of that because there's really never a reason for a mobster to put in a snitch card. So you know that the one person that sat out is probably not the snitch, and is not the snitch, really. I mean, again, unless you're playing a sick, twisted game, there's no reason a mobster would put a snitch card in. So you know somebody that you took with on that job is the snitch. So what happens, though, in a mob job? They vary from card to card. In this particular case, we're looking at the bank heist. If it passes, the crew leader searches the deck and takes out all the influence cards that they find in the deck still and distributes them among the crew as they see fit. So all of the influence cards will come out of the deck and get distributed. If it fails, you add a police card. You add a police card to the patrol area, searching the deck first. So if you can find one in the deck, you take it out of there. And if one can't be found in the deck, then you start looking at people's hand, or you start grabbing them out of people's hands and putting them in. So it adds basically a police card to the patrol area. And again, if you get to 5 in the patrol area, the snitch wins. The only other type of card I don't think we've talked about yet is there are associates. Now, associates have little special abilities on them and can be pretty much played any time. For instance, the Private Eye that I just showed you, if you play him, you can secretly inspect the identity card of one player. So there you go. You can look at that one player's identity and try to find out if they're the snitch or the mobster and go from there. As with most hidden identity social deduction games, table talk is strongly encouraged and, of course, is a big part of playing the game. So you get into those situations. For instance, I mean, you only have the 4 cards in your hand, right? So you kind of get one of those. Guys, I don't think you're the I really don't think you're the snitch, but I don't have defense cards that I can play right now, so I have to play my brass knuckles. It's only 1, so hopefully you can survive that. Or I'm sorry, all I've got is the Molotov cocktail. It's 3 points. Hopefully you've got something that can defend, or somebody else will step in. Or you kind of get into those, that's exactly what a snitch would say kind of things, you know. So you start having those discussions, you start having those suspicions, and you kind of get to a point, I think, like in the game I'm showing you behind me, there were 2 people in the hospital. There's a lot of back and forth about which one was potentially the snitch. And then suddenly maybe the person that's accusing the other 2 that are in the hospital might be the snitch. So there's a lot of back and forth between that. And it ended up like one mobster got taken out, and sure enough, the other one was the snitch. And that got found out to end the game. So you get little things like that. So it has player elimination, like most Mafia Werewolf style games. A couple things I like about this where it mitigates some of that. So one of my big pet peeves in Werewolf has always been, let me explain the rules to you, especially with new players here. Here's how you play. Here's what you do. Okay, here's first night. Who's not going to be playing this game now? I dislike that. That's one of the things I've never really enjoyed. So there is potential for first round elimination, but there's also a good chance that you may not be. So with the sliding scale and needing a certain amount to carry over to actually whack somebody, that's really nice. The other thing I like is instead of straight out doing, all right, I'm accusing you, we're going to decide if we're lynching you or whatever, the target just passes around the table. So let's say you are the snitch, you land in the hospital because you're the target. You've got basically a full round that you still can kind of do stuff and or throw suspicion off yourself. So that's nice because you're going to get at least a couple plays out of it. Going beyond that, too, this does play fairly quick unless you get into some heated debates. It plays quick, so when you get a quick style game like this, that is when I don't mind player elimination as much. If it's a quicker game, then that's fine. I can handle some player elimination. And again, the sliding scale helps because you can kill people faster, that kind of thing, as the numbers dwindle. So I like that. I like that this just is passed. It's not arbitrarily, you know what? I'm going after you. Let's all go after this person. So even though everybody else around the table may think you are the snitch, they kind of have to wait till it gets back to you to kind of do anything about that. And hopefully at that point you can maybe bolster your defenses or something. Or again, throw off suspicion. Maybe they take you on a job hoping that you're going to throw in the snitch card. Maybe that's one of the times you throw in a progress card. Because it's not always in the snitch's best interest to throw that snitch card in, because then you're like, aha, depending on the number of players left, somebody's a snitch. And we've narrowed it down a little bit. And then, of course, the next mob job that comes up, you narrow it down maybe a little bit different because a couple other people go, that kind of thing. And so you don't want to be throwing in necessarily a ton of snitched cards for voting. You got to kind of be careful with that. The one thing I think I didn't say, I talked about the police cards as far as, being in the patrol area, but they actually have an ability that can be used. The thing is, if you use the ability, they go into the patrol area. So this can also kind of garner some suspicion as well, right? Because, if you get 5 in there, but if you can choose a player other than yourself, and that player cannot play cards for the remainder of the round. So this is one of those things, like maybe you're not the snitch, and you know it, and the mobsters are close to losing, but somebody's just got it in their head that you're the snitch. You might have to kind of say, sorry, I gotta play. We've still got wiggle room for police cards in the patrol area. I got to play this on you because you're going to make us lose the game. I'm telling you, I'm not the snitch. But then, of course, they're like, well, but you're playing a police card, so you're the snitch. So you're not necessarily doing yourself any favors other than allowing another round to kind of go by. And at the same time, snitch can kind of do the same things. Like, look, you're targeting me, and I'm not the snitch. I got to put you down for a round so we can get the real snitch, when really you're just making sure, 1, you don't get whacked if you're already in the hospital potentially, and 2, you get another police card in the patrol area. So again, it's that negotiation, bluffing, all that kind of stuff that comes in with what you're used to with a Mafia Werewolf style game. So there you go. Initial impressions. I do like this. I again am somebody that I'm not a huge fan of the Mafia Werewolf style games because of what I talked about earlier. I do not like automatic first round elimination kind of stuff. I think that's kind of poor. Again, I've sat in on groups that are teaching new people, and they're like, well, that was okay. Thanks for explaining the rules to me. Maybe next time I won't get jumped right away. That kind of thing. So this, at least, again, mitigates that, has the potential to actually not eliminate anybody the first round, allows everybody to kind of play some cards, maybe see a mob job come up, that kind of thing. So I like that. I do. And again, I also like that you don't get to pick the target. The target moves every turn. So I like that as well. So again, this is Snitch, coming to Kickstarter very, very soon. And if you enjoy Mafia style games and you want one with a little bit of a twist, you want one with the mob theme, looking for the Snitch. If you want something that takes away some of the sting of initial player elimination, this is a good one to go check out. So again, Dahlman Brothers Games is going to be putting this on Kickstarter very shortly, and check it out. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Talk to you very soon.